The lonely part of Princess Leonor's student life. What if the hardest part of being Princess Leonor isn't preparing for the crown, but simply trying to feel like an ordinary student? Imagine walking onto a campus surrounded by people your age yet knowing that almost everyone sees you differently. Behind the confident smiles, the polished appearances, and the royal title, there may be a side of student life that cameras rarely capture, the quiet moments when the future queen is simply a young woman trying to find her place. And that raises one fascinating question. How lonely can student life become when you can never completely disappear into the crowd? Script Princess Leonor's student journey looks, from the outside, almost like a dream. University life. New experiences. Friends. Classes. A chance to grow beyond the palace and discover the world on her own terms. But there is something different about being a student when your name carries enormous expectations. For most young people, university can be a place to experiment, make mistakes, laugh with friends, and simply blend in. For Leonor, blending in is almost impossible. Even an ordinary day can carry extraordinary attention. A simple walk across campus can become a photograph. A conversation can become speculation. A smile can become a headline. And suddenly, something that should feel completely normal becomes something the public wants to analyze. That's where the quieter challenge begins. Leonor has spent much of her life preparing for responsibility. Her education, public appearances, military training, and royal duties are all connected to one enormous future. But behind all of that preparation is still a young person experiencing a stage of life that millions of students know well. Leaving familiar surroundings, meeting new people, trying to build friendships, learning who you are, and sometimes, feeling alone. The difference is that Leonor cannot simply close the door and become completely anonymous. Her position means personal freedom comes with limits. There is always an invisible boundary between the private student and the future queen, and perhaps that's why the smallest moments can become the most meaningful. A genuine laugh with classmates, a relaxed conversation, a moment when she appears less like a princess and more like any other student discovering adulthood. Those moments remind us that beneath the title is a person still learning, adapting, and growing. But there is another side to the story. Loneliness doesn't always mean being physically alone. Sometimes, loneliness means being surrounded by people while wondering how many truly understand the pressure you're carrying. Leonor's future has already been written into history. One day, she is expected to become Spain's queen. That is an extraordinary responsibility. But university is also a chapter of her life where she gets the chance to develop her own identity before that future arrives. Perhaps the real challenge isn't whether Leonor can handle the spotlight. She has been preparing for that for years. The more intriguing question is whether she can find genuine connection behind it. Because crowns can command attention, but they cannot create friendship. Titles can open doors, but they cannot guarantee belonging. And maybe that's the lonely part of Princess Leonor's student life that we rarely see. Not the dramatic moments, not the headlines, but the quiet space between public duty and private life. A young woman preparing for an extraordinary destiny, while still trying to experience the ordinary moments of being a student. And perhaps that is what makes her journey so fascinating, because before the crown, there is simply Leonor. Still learning, still growing, and still discovering where she belongs.